Evening all, welcome to Good Chats for another Wednesday evening. Oh no, I've just noticed I put a big hole in my pants. Oh, that's a good start, isn't it? That's a shame. G'day Nico, welcome aboard sir. Luke's Fishing NT, Jeremy Kemp, JK, the erstwhile producer, welcome aboard sir. Come, yes I know, come hither with Heather. How awkward to notice these things at times like these, but I guess it's probably better noticing it now that I'm sitting down. Steve Klink, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard, sir. O'Malley Tours 34 around the grounds. Hey mate, thanks for coming on board. Great to hear that everybody's looking forward to an exciting show, which this week it's been rather quiet, and I don't have a huge amount of stuff to talk about. Still plenty of stuff to talk about. I've been super busy, obviously making the last couple of videos, just again wanting to work with Google Earth Studio a bit more. If you like, I can run through Google Earth Studio again, and perhaps I'll show you how I might go about setting up the animation there for the Mount Gambier to Hayward line. I'm heading down there on Saturday morning, staying down in Hayward on Sunday night, and then coming back via a few other old railway lines through Western Victoria, one of my old crazy railway safaris. G'day Andy, welcome aboard. There's heaps of stuff on Footy Grounds, and for those of you who don't know already, Andy Munro is one of you go-to boys on TikTok, Instagram and Facebook for Footy Ground information and explorations, much the same way that I explore the old railway stations. Andy's got a huge catalogue of old footy grounds and stuff. Oh, Noel, welcome aboard. Hello, Coffs Harbour. I'm just so privileged to have Coffs Harbour on board, as you all know how dear to my heart Coffs Harbour is. So, I want to talk about a few things. I want to talk about heading to Western Victoria. So I'm putting another call out there for anyone who knows where we can get images. I know, Andy, we've talked about Facebook groups and all of that stuff, and believe it or not, I have actually directly posted in these rail heritage groups of Western Victoria and received absolutely zero response. G'day Daryl, welcome aboard. Another new railway line opening up in Western Australia there. I dare say if I was to ask around for some information about Western Australian railways in Daryl's group, I'd get plenty of responses. Well, there you go. I might try the Mount Gambier Library, mate. I hadn't actually gone that deep, and I should have, given that some of my stuff is actually in the Coffs collections in their archives up at Coffs Harbour. So I will do that in the Les Hill collection. Thanks, man. The more I push the buttons, I guess, the more comes out, and then sometimes, surprisingly, you get absolutely no response at all. I know a lot of those Facebook groups are just really interested in sharing photos back and forth. They don't really want to sort of step outside of anything that doesn't involve that, and that's fair enough, because there's probably enough going on in these railway groups. I find railway groups really strange and really strangely political, and I actually try to avoid them as much as I can. So yeah, welcome aboard to everybody. There's a lot more people in the chat than have piped up so far, so if you don't know what this is Good Chats. I do this live stream every Wednesday night until the end of YouTube or the Earth, whichever one comes first. You don't have to tune in every Wednesday night, but it's a bit of a background into what I do on my videos, and gives me an opportunity to, no, not really. Some of you might have noticed that I dropped an ad in the very beginning, so I'm just experimenting with this setting I've got over here on my screen, where I can drop ads in at any time. And so I'm just going to experiment with that and get a bit of feedback from you all as to how those ads go. I mean, did you get an ad at the beginning of the stream just before it started? No, that's right, Heather. There's literally no end to the possibilities as long as we're all here. There's literally no end to the possibilities for all of our YouTube channels, and we just keep churning on, don't we? So yeah, I could talk through the Google Earth setup, Google Earth Studio. I could share my screen on that and do a quick bit of setting up, although I don't have my mouse on me at the moment, and that would probably be quite necessary. Yeah, excellent, Daryl. I pay premium too. I haven't seen YouTube ads for years, although occasionally when I was using a work computer or something, I'd get YouTube ads and I'd be, wow, I haven't seen one of them for a while. So yeah, Andy planned to be down in Mount Gambier from, I don't know, around 1 o'clock-ish, then down in Hayward by 7, and then up bright and early, and get up to through Casterton and Coleraine up to Horsham around lunchtime, 1 o'clock-ish, and then head back out along that line again, past Mount Arapiles and all of that, and just do a little bit better than I did on the first trip. I think that was a little bit of a reconnaissance. I didn't really know what I was looking at the first time. That's interesting, Heather. You had an ad blocker until YouTube almost did. So I've heard this stuff. So did you have an experience with YouTube detecting an ad blocker and basically telling you weren't going to be able to use YouTube anymore unless you dropped the ad blocker? So I find that really interesting. That's that the platforms are fighting back against ad blockers, definitely. So call out for Victorian photos if anybody knows anything of any photos. Nico, we haven't seen you for a while, mate, and I actually had a question to ask. I wonder whether or not it was you, Nico, that was mentioning about Radium Hill, because I am looking at doing a video on the museum at Peterborough, the Radium Hill Museum at Peterborough, and trying to get out to Radium Hill. So again, I'm mentioning that on all of my live streams because I'm looking for an open door to get into there. Yeah, okay. Wow, that's really 3 chances. That's really interesting. I have just paid premium for like years now, so I haven't really, don't really know, and I don't really do ad blockers. I don't mind ads, given that sometimes I work as a guy who puts ads on the internet, so I'd rather not have ad blockers so I can see what's going on. Oh, good. Oh, well, thanks for sticking around, Nico. I really appreciate it, because now that I'm getting further and further through my big list of videos, I'm getting closer and closer to things like Radium Hill. Darrell, Western Langford, I have scoured the living crap out of Western Langford for Western Victoria, and the particular stations that I'm looking for. Western Langford's always a massive go-to. John Wayman, by the way, sorry, welcome aboard. I'm pretty sure I saw your name somewhere mentioned in amongst all of the Western Victoria galleries. There's a whole links through to a whole nebulous universe of railway galleries, and I think one day I saw John Wayman's name there. I'm not sure if you have a bit of a collection of your own up on the internet somewhere. Yeah, Andy, let us know. For those who love their ad blockers, just it's not a bad thing, just saying. Yeah, share the info. That'd be great. The other thing I am playing around with at the moment is memberships. I've resisted doing memberships from when it was available to me, because I didn't really feel like I had enough of a audience to warrant that. And Also, at the time, I was gainfully employed, so I didn't really need the money. Now, I'm going through the process of setting up memberships, so you may see that that will start to be reflected on the site. I'm not going to promote it at this point in time. I'm just going to spend some time having a look at it and seeing how it all works. Nobody's mentioned anything about the sound yet, but I've just looked down at the equalizer, and it's looking like it's topping out all the time. Yes, John, I knew you had a massive collection of all that kind of stuff. Well said, Andy. Good one. Thanks, Daryl. You've got Western Victoria. There's a lot of good stuff out there. I'm looking for images of. I found a couple. I went to the National Railway Museum, and they surprisingly for National Railway Museum, right? They didn't have too many on the particular places I was looking for. Casterton, Coleraine Junction, Hamilton. Yeah, Coleraine Junction at Hamilton. So yeah, I'm doing my best to sort of try and tell stories about that with the information that I've got. But hey, you know me, I managed to bumble through and turn it into more of a visual story anyway, rather than too much of an encyclopedia outdoors typica. So yeah, memberships coming up. We'll see what happens with that. So you'll see me start to play around with that a little bit as well. And when the time is right, I'll probably go out with the launch probably around the time I hit around the 2,000 subscriber mark, because it is time to amp things up a little bit. I don't have an awful lot of time to put in extra members content, which is what's held me back until now. The thought of having to do another 2 or 3 videos, possibly a month, to try and justify a membership fee, I was a little bit resistant to. But let's see what happens. We'll put it out there and see who wants to support Outdoors Type in continuing to do all of this work, because I have a really, really big list. If I think about it for too long, I can come up with around 50 or 60 ideas of videos up and coming. But somehow I'm always feeling like the next 2 or 3 videos are going to be my last, and I really will have run out of time and money to get to them. So let's see how the memberships go, if we can keep this going. And I'll just drop an ad in every so often. Yeah, I get it, Darren. I absolutely get it. And so that's why I'm not going to ever really ask or promote the memberships. It's up to people if they want to sign up. For what it's worth, if anybody ever wanted to sponsor or pay hundreds of dollars, you wouldn't even go through YouTube anyway. I'll just give you my pay ID number. Jeez. So Nico, I'll catch up with you on Facebook, mate, and we'll see what the deal is, I guess, for having a bit of a sticky beak around Radium Hill the right way next winter, probably sometime between April and June, I'm thinking, because summer's not really a good time to go poking your nose around the remote outback. I think there's heaps of rail fans out there in Western Victoria. There's heaps of dudes posting on Western Victoria and Railway Heritage of Victoria groups and whatnot. They're getting out around there. Not so much around the abandoned sections. I tend to really sort of scrape around the parts that people don't go to, because they're all chasing the latest exhibition train or the latest special tour or something like that, which is still on the sort of more main lines, I guess. So yeah, another thing I've been experimenting with, we mentioned this last week, I'm going to go with the magic window. So I've been playing a little bit with the magic window, and a little bit with sound. Yeah, like the Murrayville people and those tours and stuff like that. I don't know. I didn't get the sound on that one. It's not quite working. Did anybody hear the cheering sound effect that happened there? I'd be interested to know, because it's not feeding back to me through my monitors, so I'm not really understanding what's going on there. I've set up everything properly, but it's not really feeding back to me. And so the magic window is just going to play a video that I put in it. And for what it's worth, I'm actually just going to transition to that video while I go and get my mouse, which will make using the computer a little bit easier. Oh no, that was just a test, wasn't it? I have to get the right video. Let's find the right video. That was just the fly through. Here we go. This one will probably have sound in it. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at 3 stations that still remain on the Roseworthy to Burra line. Thanks, Daryl. Appreciate that. So I wasn't picking it up here. Let's find out more. Picking it up here. Let's find out more. Picking it up here. God. Okay. The broad gauge Burra line opened from Roseworthy to Tarlee in 1869. The existing opened from Roseworthy to Tarlee in 1898. It's named after Tarlee in County Kerry, Ireland, and the station included a main building, goods shed, loading crane, stockyards, and station master's residence. Transferred to Australian National in 1978, the station ceased regular use in 1986, but was occasionally used for tours until 2004. Australian Southern Railway acquired it in 1987, and the last grain trains used Tarlee's silos in 2005. They're now owned by One Rail Australia, including the station and the railway line remnants. Manora railway station was built in 1898 as well, and the story is much the same as the nearby stations. The Burra line is just about to head north out of the Gilbert Valley now and into the Wakefield River catchment. Oh, now look, here I am in the magic window. It's not quite the same window though, is it? Three hours of travel from Hallett to Adelaide. Oh, it still takes about 2.5 hours travel from Hallett to Adelaide. Yeah, isn't it just O'Malley? I always marvel at that when I'm travelling out there. Just how much of the country we've cleared. Thanks, Nico. Appreciate that. Yeah, the old rail junction. What's the name? Starts with a C. I'm trying to think. Cutana or something like that. Wow, yeah. How were the flies out there? They were bad when I was up around Port Perry just the other week. The station opened in 1870. The goods shed was built in 1873, and the Bluestone station building we see today opened in 1899 with its wrought iron veranda engine, identical to that of the Saddleworth, Menora, Farrell Flat and other stations along the line to Burra. It included a siding and unique and other stations along the line. Gosh, sorry about the echo. 3 miles from the village of Mintara. The station was renamed in 1917. Regular passenger trains stopped in 1986, although special tours continued. Thanks, Andy. The station was heritage listed in 1984. think, yeah. Anyway, I'll stop playing with the sound settings. I love design. It's one of the reasons I explore. So it's interesting to note that these stations are basically identical, even down to... Yeah, thanks, John. I am going to try and mention more about the towns in the videos now as well as I go, if there is something to talk about with the towns, but sometimes it just really depends also how much footage I've got. Document about Alfred McBain Benithan and his revolutionary designs of the Moonta station and others around the state. It mentions that this long outmoded menorah style design was preferred as late as 1912. Yeah, you're partly right there, Darryl. There was a lot of areas like the Adelaide Plains in the north, the plains north of Adelaide, which never really had many trees. In fact, they've probably got more trees now than they've ever had. Yeah, I really like your style, Andy, when you talk, you make it really easy. And you share that video about the guy who did the video about Cressy as well. He's got a really good style as well. Really love what people are doing with that. Okay, let's swap around. Let's put that back in the magic window. And that will now just... Oh, maybe I'll find another video, hey. Because that's just going to loop. Here's me just getting used to the magic window. Let's put that on. So these are like in the magic window up there. These are the locations that I'll be heading back to. I haven't got Cressy on the list. I think that might be a little further east into Victoria, or it might even be on the road between Hamilton and Horsham. So we'll see how we go. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it was called, Nico, obviously out there near Mingaree, the big sky country, as I like to call it, that's for sure. Now, is my mouse working? I will just tee up Earth Studio. And we'll see if it'll play ball. And I'll set up my animation for the upcoming Mount Gambier to Hayward video. No, they won't be. Although there's another big front of rain due to go through on Friday. Hopefully I'll come in just after that. Although generally it's rained every single time I've been to the southeast. I think that day we caught up in Horsham there and we were over near the southeast. That's the only time it hasn't been raining when I've been anywhere near the southeast. Yeah, that's right, Nico. That huge crash that happened. Okay, so that's what's upcoming. I'm going to explore more of these areas in the magic window soon. We will just fade that out. And I'll go to my screen cap. And I will go to the browser. Jim Beam is the beer of choice tonight. Celebrating 1,923 subscribers. Should I do a special celebration for 1,923 subscribers? I don't know. Anyway, here we are in Google Earth Studio, right? So this is just in your browser. Behind my now stupid window, you can now see, and hopefully, what's everybody else's beer of choice tonight? Love Iron Jack. Iron Jack's really good when it's really cold. So right now we're looking at Google Earth Studio in the browser. Just Google it and you'll come up with it. I just click blank project and I'm going to type it Mount G to H. Generally they'll do. I know what I'm talking about. And I'm going to up the resolution to 3840. 900 frames, 30 frames per second is 30 seconds. That's all right. It's still early over there in Western Australia, Darryl. You can have a coffee, mate. Ooh, Bloody Mary. Damn. Oh, look at this. a little bit more like an AA meeting than the YouTube live stream, but there you go. Or sorry, a anti-AA meeting. So there you go. So here I am setting this up. Right. It's 30 seconds. I can change it and make it longer if I want later. So you just start and you're looking at the planet. And it did Ararat and Geelong across the Pleurisy Plains. Great name, Pleurisy Plains, right? Because pleurisy is like some kind of medical condition. Ararat and Geelong. Yeah, no, so it's kind of a little bit further in than I'll get to on this trip. I'm going to need to collect some more resources and some more time to get further into Victoria, as I was alluding to earlier. So we're looking at the Earth, and then I just click on your usual little. It's up behind the. Oh God, I'm going to get rid of this. Right, we're just going to get rid of this window for now. I'm in screen cap, and we'll switch that off, and hopefully now you'll be able to see the entire screen. Welcome aboard, Gary Warrior. Thanks for coming on board, and thanks for that. I'm just sort of running through what I did on Google Earth Studio, which is available to everybody in there. What have I done? Now I just want that thing off. I'm on screen cap. And the webcam, I haven't transitioned, that's why. Ooh, there we go. So now I'm back in Google Earth. I'm going up the top here and I'm going to type in Mount Gambier. Right. And select Mount Gambier. And there's Mount Gambier. And so now I can zoom in. You hold the trackball down and move the mouse to move in 3D. Look at that. They've got some 3D imagery of Crater Lake. The grey bit in the middle there is the camera. Is what's actually going to be videoed. I could, for example, put just a quick example. I'll put a camera target right there in the middle of the blue lake. And what? Oh, good evening, Fishplane Films. Welcome aboard, Greg. Thank you for dropping in. I love the railway lands in the Mount. I'd prefer it to still be railway, but I love the way that they've kept the access open. I did see it mentioned somewhere they have kept a certain amount of space if a railway did need to go back through or to Mount Gambier. So this works on keyframing. I don't know if anybody works on keyframes. So we've got a timeline across the bottom there, and all these different settings here, which you can just set and hold, press it, hold all of them at that point in time. Then I will. Oh, my camera target's not working. I'll have to go back to that. Then I'll just kind of, move my mouse around here and move it around here, and then set another keyframe. Alright. And there we go. Oh, no, it still follows the camera target. And then you press space to just play it back. And so it basically just runs the video between the first point that I set. And then I move my mouse around, just chose another random point. But then I'm also telling it to stay looking at that camera point. So what it's doing is going from the first point I set with like latitude, longitude, altitude, all that kind of stuff, pan and tilt, and following the target that goes past that keyframe, and it stops, but I can go out to say 20 seconds, and what I'll do is we want to zoom in now, and then I'll set that other keyframe, and so you'll see what happens now as it does that little turn. It eases. These little arrows are about easing. If you're not seeing the arrows and you're wondering why your movement's jarry, then that's why. And then it'll do that. I could technically then maybe give the camera a bit more tilt, and then that would just tell the camera to do that while I have to do that again. Tell the camera to tilt and move back a little bit and set that as keyframe, and it does the auto easing, and then whoa, you just stop and go and look like that. So essentially I won't be doing that for the Mount Gambier railway line. What I would do more like is I would just delete all them. Yep, that's great, thanks Microsoft. And because I'm looking at going from west to east, you know, I might say something like, we'll come in, is this too high? I think it's probably a bit too high. And if I'm talking about, you know, coming into Mount Gambier in the southeast, yeah, no, I probably won't do that. I'll probably go right in close and find an angle that kind of looks over the railway line. And so you can see the railway line running through there, right? So what I would do is I would pick that as, stop playing, I've got to press space again. Pick that as the first point. Then I would be zooming in. You've got to try not to do too many movements at once as well. You've got to be a bit careful. And then I would do that just to kind of, whoops, bring it in a little bit. I've totally messed that up. Let's go back to there. Right. Let's just, all else fails, just control Z the bloody thing and start again. Maybe I do want to come in with a little bit more of a thing on there. Now I do need to get rid of that camera track point now. Camera rotation, camera target, there it is. Yeah, we'll just bloody control Z everything. I don't know what I've done there. There we go. Now we got no camera target. And so we could start there and use the 3D-ness. Set that one. Now we don't have a camera target. We're just going into where we want to go into. Where's the railway lands? The railway lands is in there. There's Mount Gambier Station. And so I might come into there. And then I might go in a bit further, bring it around so that that's roughly in the center of the screen. And you can see all that working its way through the town there. Then I'll keyframe that. I'll see what that looks like. So we come in kind of quick. And then we go up, which is not great. There is the railway land, so I can find out why it goes up. So I've opened up a graph and I can actually fix that. I didn't like the way it was jumping up, so we'll just smooth that out. It'll go the way I want. And then there's a weird little, I don't know, a weird little kink here. I've got to work out whether it's the latitude or the longitude. It's more like the latitude, so we'll just smooth that out a little bit. And it moves into that, and it kind of slows down because there's a different strange movement, but there we go. And then we position ourselves there. I would then maybe try and straighten it out a little bit and go right in where I might even start a drone shot, right? And so then it comes back down in. It grooves through to the part where, yep, I might start a drone shot. And so you'll see here too, they've got 3D imaging on the blue lake and the crater, but they don't have 3D imaging on Mount Gambier itself. You would have seen in the last video that they do have 3D imaging on Adelaide though, so they've got 3D imaging around the whole wide world. And so when you get used to this, and I'll freely admit, right, it took me hours to get used to it, but you can basically almost do aerial drone shots basically to compose to your heart's desire, or go for fly-throughs. In the case of 3D cities, you can even get down and within the buildings and stuff. Some of the imagery starts to break apart and starts to get a bit average at that point in time, some of it, but some of it's better than others. So anyway, that's a bit of a play around with the start of that video. So what I would do now is go, okay, cool, we're kind of there. I'll just go save. It's MG to H. It's saved in the cloud on your Google account, and it renders in the cloud, or you can also render it as a sequence of images. So say, for example, I wanted to put in a track point here, which brings up this window. Go away, search window. What? So let's just put in a track point. I've just put that little dot there, and I'll call it Mount G. Right, and there it is. And so that also creates a geospatial marker where I attach graphics to in After Effects. So I would export this as a series of images, and when I attach as also After Effects files, and so when I use After Effects, I can attach a graphic to this specific geospatial point in time, so that my Mount Gambier marker doesn't move from the point that I set it to as the video goes through. So this is all available to everyone in the browser. They call it a bit of a test or a bit of a project or something like that, but it's fairly mature now, and it's available to any user. Just go in and even just have a play around for what it's worth. You don't necessarily have to create something. You do obviously have to start that blank project, blah blah, call it whatever, and then forget about it forever. Just go for a bit of a fly around. All right, okay, we have made it to 8:52, and I've virtually had nothing on the list for this week. Oh, now we're back to multi-mic weird screen. Let's just go back to the main screen. And we will change this and that. We'll change that on over. So, thanks for sticking with me this far, folks. If you did enjoy the live stream, then give me a thumbs up and subscribe. We're at the 5-minute mark now, so I want to thank. We got up to 16 concurrent viewers tonight. So if all 16 of y'all could chuck a like on that and tell YouTube that something's actually happening over here in this corner of the internet, that would be great. I want to thank everybody for coming on board. There's more than 16, so there's always lurkers out there, but now I know that Nico is lurking out there. I usually say thanks to all the replayers like John Wayman, but you were here in the chat tonight, and thank you for coming on board, sir. Nico, thank you, mate. I look forward to catching up with you more about Radium Hill. That'll be great. Looking forward to that journey, that's for sure. Luke's fishing in the Northern Territory, representing our fine Northern Territory cousins. Thank you for coming on board. JK, thanks for hanging around again, mate. Really appreciate it. Come Hither with Heather. Thanks for spending some time with us on Wednesday evening. You're always appreciated and welcome on board. Steve Klink, Ree, O'Malley Tours 34 around the grounds. Thank you, O'Malley. Andy Munro. I was nearly said O'Malley again. And Noel Bretnar, thank you for coming on board from Coffs Harbour. Hello, Coffs Harbour. Stay cool up there. Dale Phillips, go check out Transport Spotters Worldwide Guide on Facebook to see what Daryl's up to. Thank you again for keeping me up to date with what's out there as well, Daryl. John Wayman, thank you, sir, for coming on board. Who else have we had on board tonight? Has anyone else snuck in at the end there? Look, I also say Good night to and Gary Warrior. Thank you for coming on board for the first time. Appreciate it. Steve Klink, who's always here. Thank you very much, sir. The replayers, we might even have had Drew's Adventures on board tonight. We might even have had Pete Donaldson on board tonight with the chat. So wherever you're at out there, guys, thank you for checking in. Thanks to everyone who checked in tonight. This has been Good Chats. We do this every Wednesday night. There is no end. And sometimes it's actually good. Might even be better next week. We'll see you then. Cheers.